Hi, I'm Mark Cleghorn and welcome to my series with Xperience Wedding. Today we're talking about how much should you invest into the photography and business skills. Obviously, depending on the different levels you are with your wedding business, whether you're just getting going or whether you're kind of middle or end career, there's going to be a different investment no matter what. Plus, it also depends on how hungry you are and how much you want the business to be and how big you want the business to be. So this is going to be an answer to a question that is very hard to do. So let's tackle off the beginner first, okay? So the first thing that I would say is, as far as the investment into the photography is concerned, it's probably going to be quite a lot in the beginning. Why am I saying that? You probably need to get a bigger portfolio range. You're probably going to be investing not only into some training like the Photographer Academy online to see behind the scenes and actually what other photographers do, also to get some of our posing apps and posing guides so you actually know what to actually do with a couple and how basically to kind of rearrange them and so on. But you're also going to need to invest into some business kind of training as well. So as far as the kind of the two ends, obviously I think the Photographer Academy, if you're basically on a really tight budget, the likes of the online training will actually suffice you right in the beginning. However, as far as the photographic training is concerned, I'd always encourage you to do some kind of workshop. But always try and choose the kind of the mid-range photographer to begin with rather than the high-end talent, unless you absolutely are in awe of everything they do. Why do I say that? It's probably because their skills are very hard to translate to you instantly, whereas somebody who is in the middle of the road wedding, you'll be able to actually dilute their skills quicker than you will to actually do the top end of the range. It doesn't mean that we're basically ignoring the high-end pro, the ones that you admire from afar and so on, in any means. And I'd encourage you to actually go on any seminars that they're doing and big groups, but investing in the big money into a 1 day or a 2 day, 3 day, whatever it would be, a workshop, you're probably really not going to get the most out of it at your early career stage. And so I would look for the best investment for your buck and things. Obviously, look as well at the certain things that you really need to obtain on the photography. So if you feel that you need more advice on reportage, go on a reportage course. If you need more skills in posing, go on a posing course, and so on and so on. If you get the chance to actually carry a wedding photographer's bag or help them out on a wedding, not second shoot, but actually help them out. Basically, I definitely encourage you to do that because I did that with quite a few photographers early on in my career. In fact, even when I opened my first studio, I'd already been photographing weddings for about 3 years, but I'd been carrying a photographer's bag during the time of even opening my studio when I didn't have weddings. So if you can find a local mentor for you, if you don't think you're going to get underneath others' feet, if you don't really believe that you're going to be pitching at his type of client initially, there'll be no reason why you're not kind of carrying a bag and so on. And I've done that with lots of photographers in my area and vice versa. So the photography investment, I believe, is more time in the early days than it is as far as the finances going on lots and lots of courses. What I would encourage you to do though is kind of book a local friend or kind of beginner model, try and get a wedding dress. They're cheap enough to actually buy online nowadays, just so you're basically looking like a bride, and go out and actually practice and shoot and get some ideas. But obviously get some ideas from the likes of Pinterest, so that at least you can develop your style, you can develop your look and go out there looking to really capture an image. As far as the business is concerned, in the early days again, I would say that the online training is probably the best thing for you to do. If you can join and afford to actually join the likes of the Xperience wedding group that I run with Robert Pugh, then that's a good way, because you get a little bit of both. So you can actually get monthly online training, plus you get the chance to actually get together with your mentor and basically kind of trash their brains with all the knowledge that you need. But as far as the business and the business development, obviously we're making some short films to do with Xperience Wedding, so you can get some basic advice. But again, we've got to look at the type of business that you're trying to run. So if you look at the graphic on the screen where it shows a small amount of money in business development, in photography development compared to the large amount of money that in business development, that is what I would do as far as just beginning off is concerned. In fact, very, very similar in the mid-range photographer. I would say that photography development should be an ongoing thing, but obviously at each wedding you're developing your style, you're developing your portfolio, your look, your brand, and so on. But as far as the business development, you probably need more help with that to make sure you're earning a good living from wedding photography and not just the basics. So I would definitely encourage you to spend more on the business training than I would actually on the photography. However, when you're at the kind of the more advanced stage, when your business is solid, when your business is kind of pretty much there, they would equal themselves out. So in other words, the photography and the business investment would be pretty much the same. It's at that stage I'd be encouraging you to actually go and try and go on a workshop with the top photographers of the time, even traveling to actually see them overseas if you get the opportunity, if you've got the budget to do that. And as far as the business mentoring is concerned, basically choose a real profit and not a false profit. So in other words, somebody who really is doing the work, really is doing the amount of shoots, who really is earning their income from the wedding photography and not kind of propping it up just by a bit of training on the side and so on. You've got to kind of be able to see through the fog. And for me, at my time in my career, I'm basically a full-time trainer now that does a few weddings still and a few portraits for past client, but my kind of time is spent developing other photographers. Whereas basically Robert is a working photographer, really high-end, great quality, day-to-day photography, and basically with him joining me on the Xperience wedding, it basically allows us to actually have a kind of a marriage in heaven as far as the kind of the business development. And obviously really what you want is a person in business who's running a business now and not just a business mentor like me that can tell you how to kind of change your business over the night and develop it really for the big time in the future. So that's basically what I would say as far as the balance of how much should you invest into photography versus your business skills. Hope you've enjoyed this session for the Xperience Wedding. I'm Mark Cleghorn for the Academy. See you next time. Bye-bye.